From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Thursday, February 13th, and here are today's headlines. Democratic legislative leaders are pushing back against Governor Phil Scott's school choice proposal. Last week, Education Secretary Zoe Saunders unveiled a plan to give every student the ability to enter a school choice lottery. And while Saunders has insisted her plan would actually limit the flow of public money to private schools, public school advocates have panned the idea as an attempt to dramatically scale up the state's existing voucher system. Senate Leader Phil Baruth warned this week that Scott's school choice idea risks sinking education reform talks. And House Speaker Jill Krowinski said in an interview she's concerned the administration's proposal would undermine the public school system.
I think in terms of our values, we want to strengthen public schools, not weaken them.
Lawmakers will take more testimony on the governor's proposals this week. Vermont lawmakers are considering a bill that would once again delay a law that brings 19-year-olds into the juvenile justice system. Governor Phil Scott has called on the legislature to repeal the law. It's known as Raise the Age. Scott signed it in 2018 and has since said he believes it was a mistake. The current bill does not repeal the law, but it would pause the implementation for 2 years. But Child, Youth, and Family advocate Matthew Bernstein told the House Judiciary Committee this week the law is based on research that shows young people's brains are still developing into their 20s. And he said Vermont became the first state to use that data to reform its juvenile justice approach.
We are currently leading the nation, and what this proposal does is walk this back, and I think that takes Vermont backwards.
The Department for Children and Families has said it does not have enough staff to handle bringing 19-year-olds into the juvenile justice system and that the state needs to build a secure youth facility first. Vermont is trying to be proactive, monitoring the risk of bird flu to keep it from spreading to cows and people. The health department held over 50 vaccine clinics at farms in the fall, and recently the state has started testing raw milk on every farm once a month. The department is also testing viral samples from hospitalized flu patients. That's to prevent what Health Commissioner Dr. Mark Levine calls a nightmare scenario if bird flu infects someone who is already sick with the human flu.
And that human becomes, if you will, a petri dish. So in that one person, could those two viruses exchange some genetic material? That is a way that the avian virus could then mutate and become capable of being a human infecting virus.
So far, bird flu has not been able to spread easily between people. Burlington has announced a new interim police chief. Sean Burke, currently the South Burlington chief, will move to his new position with the Queen City Force next month. Burke has spent most of his 31-year career in law enforcement in Burlington. He rose through the ranks and became deputy chief of operations before leaving in 2018 to lead the South Burlington Department. Burlington's current chief, John Murad, announced in November he would not seek reappointment this year. He'll help with the transition and leave the job by early April. The city of South Burlington said in a statement it will conduct a national search to replace Burke. And there may be some changes to how Vermont regulates panfish. That's after more than 200 people signed a petition calling for an outright ban on commercial fishing in Vermont. The Fish and Wildlife Department is not proposing a statewide ban, but is calling to halt commercial black and white crappie sales. Judd Kratz, a fisheries biologist with the Fish and Wildlife Department, says some anglers take more than the 25 fish limit.
Crappies have an especially high value compared to the other species, and that high value incentivizes some bad behavior.
Fish and Wildlife is also calling for bag limits on bluegill, bullhead, pumpkin seed, rock bass, and perch. And the department wants to make all commercial anglers get a special license and report their fish sales. The deadline to give public comment is April 7th, and there will be 4 public hearings around the state in March. Coming up, just before President Trump took office in January, a program called Welcome Corps was able to bring college-aged refugees from Kenya and Jordan to Brattleboro to prepare for U.S. college admissions. Vermont Public's Howard Weiss-Tisman talks about the effort and concerns that their future in the States may still be in jeopardy. That's after this. If you go to the webpage for the U.S. State Department Refugee Resettlement Program called Welcome Corps, a pop-up window appears. And it says generally that the Trump administration has suspended all refugee applications and admissions until further notice. But last month, just a few days before Trump took office, Welcome Corps was able to transport 85 college-age students into the United States from refugee camps in Kenya and Jordan. And they're all now living in Brattleboro, enrolled in the only program in the country that's preparing refugee students for their eventual admission into American colleges. Vermont Public's Howard Wise-Tisman joined me to talk about the program, and he began by explaining what the Welcome Corps program is.
The Biden administration started Welcome Corps in 2023, and it's built on this idea that private citizens can donate their time and money to support refugee families here in the United States. For years, refugee resettlement in the U.S. was built around organizations that bring in dozens or hundreds of refugees at a time. And we have a few of those organizations here in Vermont. But the Welcome Corps model is different, and it allows small groups of American community members to sponsor and help a refugee family. Last year, the Biden administration started this program called Welcome Corps on Campus. And it's the same idea with local community members supporting refugees, but the refugees are college-age students, and the colleges also lend some support as the refugees attend classes and live on campus. Last August, the first cohort of these college students went directly to their college. But this program in Brattleboro was set up for 85 students to do some college prep work and English language learning before they scatter to campuses across the U.S. in the fall. I met a woman in Brattleboro. Her name is Michaela. She was born in Burundi, and she was living in a refugee camp in Kenya. She said she had her sights set on a similar Canadian program called WUSC when she found out about the new U.S. program. And on one very cold day in January, she arrived in Brattleboro.
It is more than what I dreamt about. Yeah, when I was in high school, I was really working hard to get a grade that allows me to apply to WUSC because Welcome Corps was not there yet. And they used to tell me, why, Mika, why are you working so hard? Why are you not sleeping at time? And I used to say, I want to go to Canada, actually. I don't want to live this life anymore. I was on a scholarship. I was on a boarding school. So others used to bully, like Kenyans used to bully me because I'm not Kenyan, I'm a refugee. And then I used to study hard because of that. I used to study hard so that I can go to Canada and change my life. But then I had the opportunity to come to US, and I'm so proud. Yeah.
Michaela is 22, and she says she wants to study data science.
Well, Howard, there's so much to talk about, and there's so much confusion, too, about immigration and refugees. Can you explain what their legal status is currently and whether there are concerns that it could change?
All of the students that are in Brattleboro are refugees and are here legally under the U.S. refugee policy, which allows them to eventually apply for citizenship. The Trump administration has shut down the Welcome Corps program, and it's not taken any more applications for next year. But because the students are here under this sponsorship program, and they're being supported with private funding and with community folks who live nearby, they're apparently safe for now. And the administrators who are running the program think that all of these students are going to be able to make their way to the college campuses. There's a lot of fear right now. SIT did not want anyone recorded on the record for this story, and the national organization that helps prepare the volunteer groups that support the refugees also declined an interview. I contacted a few of the colleges who were taking part in the program, and they also said they didn't want to speak about the students. For now, everyone involved in this program is focused on protecting these 85 students and making sure they get to the college that they want.
You also spoke with some of the Vermonters who are helping these folks out. What are they saying?
I met Alex Beck. He lives in Brattleboro, and he's involved with one of these sponsor groups that are working with the students. He says that helping these students find their ways from the refugee camps in Jordan and Kenya to the U.S. college campuses, where they'll hopefully spend the next 4 or 5 years, is one way to stand up to the Trump agenda.
There'll be a positive impact on wherever they land in the United States. And to recognize the humanity in someone else, even if they're just a college student here in Brattleboro in the summer, and then they get sent somewhere else is that is part of a little bit of resistance. They're not competing for housing resources, and they're not, increasing my property taxes. I say pretty flippantly, it's all gravy. It's all good. We can only benefit from being a more welcoming community than not.
So, Howard, these refugees are in Brattleboro now to prepare for college. When will they learn where they're headed next?
In March, they're going to find out which college or university they'll be attending. And because of their ongoing refugee status, with the hope that they'll be able to apply for citizenship, they can't return home at this point. Sidra, she's from Syria. She's almost 21, and she wants to study artificial intelligence. Sidra says she's accepted the uncertainty and the very new life she's found herself in here in Vermont.
Of course, it's hard to leave your family, but if you don't leave them to pursue a better future, you're going to struggle for the rest of your whole life, literally, because we're going to keep struggling until we die. So I'm going to probably struggle for a while, but then I'm going to build a future for me, and then I'm going to be able to help my family. So I'm going to change my life so I don't struggle until I die. So this is... Even if it was a challenge, I'm up to it, actually. Yeah.
It's worth noting just how competitive this program was. A spokesperson for SIT said more than 3,000 students applied, and 85 were admitted, including Sidra.
That's Vermont Public's Howard Weiss-Tisman, and you can find more of his reporting on this and other issues at vermontpublic.org. Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Lola Dufour, Liam Elder-Connors, Lexi Krupp, Mary Engish, and Abigail Giles. Our executive producer is Kevin Trevelyan, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.